Yes. What's going on, family? What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's session with your boy Abel and the Profit Society family. Super excited to be here with every single one of you guys tonight. Let's get it. Yes. Yes, family. What's going on, guys? Welcome. Let me go ahead and put my face on this screen real quick. Let's see, I'm gonna put it on this corner. Yes. What's going on, family? I'm just getting a few things situated, and then we'll be good to start, man. Make sure I'm not in the way. All right, perfect. So, welcome to tonight's stream, family. Super excited to be here with every single one of you guys, as usual. It's another week, another phenomenal trading week that we have here in front of us. And I'm extremely excited for this up and coming week to see exactly what we're able to come up with, right? Because I don't know about y'all, family, but I just feel really good about this week. And I feel like this is going to be one of those weeks, man, that either we're going to be learning a whole lot and we're going to be making a lot of money as well. All right, that's really what I'm focused on more than anything, is just getting you guys not just educated, but getting you guys paid as well, you know, throughout the entire process that we go throughout this week overall, family. But super excited to be here with you guys all tonight. I want to go ahead and get straight into the actual data real quick, the news really quickly, and then I can go ahead and overlook the markets real quick, give you guys a rundown as to what I think can actually happen in the markets for this week, and then we'll pretty much leave it up to you guys as well, so you guys can give me some setups that you guys want me to analyze, and then we can go from there. Right, I do believe that it might be just me today on the call. I'm not sure just yet. But you guys do know whenever I'm just the only one on the call, man, I come here and I like to have a lot of fun with you guys, right? You know, I'm gonna have my camera on. I'm gonna have my face, you know, right here so you guys can see, right? I'm gonna be asking you guys a lot of comments, questions, and concerns, right? Just because that's how I operate. You know, when it's just me doing, you know, my own thing here, you know, I like to engage with you guys, right? I like to actually encourage you know, your guys' thoughts. You know, I like to encourage your guys' opinions, right? Your guys' questions, comments, or concerns that you guys might have, so that we can go ahead and actually, you know, communicate. You know, we can have some type of a dialogue when it comes to those, you know, those topics, right? You know, but overall, it's going to be super lit. And I see we actually got the young legend, young lion in the building, right? Shout out to my little bro, Kyle, bro, for tuning in, my bro. I appreciate you so much. or I thought it was going to be just me, myself today. But we do got the young legend, young lion with us as well, family. So obviously, you know, he going to come on here and do his thing as well. But let's go ahead and go through the data really, really quickly. In the meantime, family, go ahead and drop your locations in the chat. Go ahead and smash the like button. Go ahead and share this video out to every single body that you know, whether they are traders or not, because we are going to provide a lot of value for you guys tonight, as usual. You know, just get you guys prepared for this week. But overall, though, to start off the week, family, we don't have nothing too crazy. On Monday, we do have the president of the ECB, the European Central Bank, going to be testifying, going to be speaking. I always like to say this, but anytime that you have, you know, a high political figure, right, you know, that has the ability to influence these markets, whenever they're speaking, you definitely want to be on the safe side, right? You know, that's an opportunity for you to, you know, I wouldn't say get out of the markets because you're already in positions and ride them out. But it's definitely not the time to be actively looking for positions unless you are experienced with fundamentals, right? You know, so just be mindful of that. At 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know, ECB President Lagarde will be speaking, so that will absolutely bring some volatility for the euro. We also have the RBA meeting minutes on Monday as well for the Australian dollar. Obviously, whenever we're looking at meeting minutes for any central bank, that's more so just them giving us an insight as to what they have been speaking about in the background. And that's important for anybody, right? Because as traders, you know, what is being spoken about inside of these meetings, right, from these heads of central banks is very important, right? Because the central banks, guys, are by far, or at least the heads of central banks, right, by far have the most influence over these markets that we're actively trading, right? So if you really want to understand where the market is going to go from a fundamental standpoint, then yeah, you know, you might want to go ahead and do the boring thing and read up on what the meeting minutes are actually saying. Right now, I don't trade too many Australian pairs, personally speaking, right? So I personally won't be looking at it. But if you do trade a lot of Australian pairs, then yeah, you know, you never know. You might get some insight as to what that bank is going to do. That can obviously give you an insight as to what you should do as well. Now, going into Tuesday, guys, we do got a couple pound news early morning right before London session with average earnings index and the claimant count change. We also do have core CPI as well for the Canadian dollar on Tuesday. So anybody that trades Canadian pairs, you know, be mindful that CPI is getting released. In fact, this week in total, guys, has a ton of CPI coming out. Right, so it is going to be a volatile week overall. But yeah, we do have core CPI and CPI getting released on Tuesday for the Canadian dollar. On Wednesday, we have CPI for both the pound at 2 a.m. and then the euro at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by crude oil inventories at 10:30. And then to end off the day on Wednesday, we also close it out with CPI for the New Zealand dollar, right? So Wednesday alone, we got 3 different central banks or 3 different economies or 3 different currencies that are going to be influenced by CPI data. So definitely be mindful of that for sure, guys. See on, you know, because however these numbers come out, man, it can absolutely influence these markets for sure. Now going into Thursday, we have the initial jobless claims from the U.S., which is a weekly release. We also do have existing home sales that could be interesting. Then going into Friday, we have some retail sales for the pound and some PMI data as well for the pound. And we also have some CAD, you know, retail sales data as well, right? So it just seems like for the most part, right, the pound itself is going to be extremely volatile, right, with CPI on Wednesday and retail sales and PMI on Friday, right? It also seems like the CAD is also going to be, you know, another one that's also going to have a lot of volume, a lot of volatility behind it, you know, because they also have CPI and they also have retail sales coming out as well. And then obviously euro on Wednesday with CPI as well, right? Good night, my son. Love you, boy. Right, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting week, but it's a lot of news that's not to do with the dollar. Right now, will any of this news itself affect the dollar itself? I mean, there's definitely a possibility, right? Because obviously, you know, whatever happens to the euro mainly, right, it's going to influence the dollar itself, 100%. So yeah, you know, all of these news events, guys, have the ability to indirectly affect what the U.S. dollar is going to do as well, right? So that's why it's important just to be up to date with what is going on and be aware of how to react as well, right? But that is pretty much our news for the week. I think it's still going to be a very good week. It is going to be volatile during the middle of the week, but I think it's still going to be a really good week and a good opportunity for us to go ahead and get crazy in the markets, especially, you know, since I mainly trade USD pairs anyways, right? Like I said, I don't really trade too many foreign currencies anymore. It's definitely just more so either USD pairs or the indices. is what I've been focusing on a lot, especially the S&P 500 has really been what I've been really dialed into. I've been back testing. I've been studying the hell out of it because I am the S&P slayer, right? And I do want to go ahead and move forward with only trading a couple pairs, right? Over the past few years, just because of the position I've been in, right, as an educator, I've always had to pretty much trade everything, right? Trade a whole bunch of different, currency pairs, assets, right? At least, and even if I'm not just actively placing a trade on them, I had to obviously, do analysis on them, do markups, all this good stuff. And it's cool, right? Because once you know how to trade, you know how to trade, right? Like that really doesn't change too often, no matter what you're trading. But what does change is when certain assets or certain pairs move, by how much these certain assets or these certain pairs move, right? And all the personalities of each pair, you can actually figure out how they operate if you actually take some time to study them, right? So that's pretty much where I'm at now, right? I'm really eliminating a lot of the pairs that I was looking at, and I'm really going to be focusing strictly on the S&P 500. I'll be also focused on GBP JPY just because that's one of my favorites. Probably the favorite one of mine is GJ. And then I'll also be taking a look at gold, right? So gold, GJ, and the S&P 500 are going to be my three pairs that I focus on 100% moving forward, right? So even if you guys are a part of the, the actual premium community that we have here where we go live during New York session, right? We actually trade during New York session, actively looking for, setups to execute on. Those are going to be the ones that I'm focused on moving forward, right? So, yeah, I will obviously analyze anything that you guys send us, but for me to call out a trade on, it's going to be one of those three overall. Right, but besides that, though, Kyle, my brother, I appreciate you, bro, for jumping on tonight. I'm not sure if there's anything that you want to go ahead and say to the family before we go ahead and get into the actual markups itself. So if you have some time, bro, definitely go ahead and say what's up and let the family know how you're feeling this week. I don't know about you, but I think it's going to be an absolute, really, really good one for sure.
Nah, facts. There's a lot of news this week, man. A lot of red folders in the market, man. It's like almost every day there's something going on. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm mad excited for the week. We definitely gonna go into some markups on this call. Probably not gonna, give out a trade on this call, but we will be marking up our stuff that we're looking at for the week. And other than that, when we do decide to execute, we will keep you guys updated inside the premium community. You guys already know. We're gonna always keep you guys updated. I'm liking this daily close here in the dollar, man. Is really in a tough position. It's either gonna go ahead and um, you know bounce off of that level that you just sparked and continue bullish, or we could reject off of this supply that we're coming up to. So, I'm curious to see as to like what New York session does and where we end up, where price ends up coming up to during New York session. But it should be a good one. This definitely should be a good one.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. It should be a good one. I honestly feel like a lot of these pairs now are at certain levels that are going to be make or break for them to either continue in the direction they've been going, or it's time for an actual, reversal. Right? Obviously, if we look at the dollar itself here in the weekly time frame, the dollar has clearly been bearish for the past, 2 months. All right, we're talking about 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Right, so literally 2 months of just straight dropping here. Now it has not been aggressive dropping, right? We can see a lot of wicks in between, but the market has been going lower. Are we now at a point in time where we could finally see the market pull back up? Or are we just gonna continue in this overall drop long term, right? Family, I want you guys to answer this in the chat. Right, I'm gonna do obviously my markup. I'll give you guys my analysis, my thoughts on it. Obviously, Kyle can also contribute his thoughts as well. But I really want to know what your guys' thoughts here based off first look at the markets right now for the dollar. What do you guys think is more likely to happen here? All right, are we actually going to go bullish, or are we actually just pushing back up to this area of structure or area of supply to then go bearish, right? What do you guys think, family? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat, man. And let's see who else we got here in the building as well. I see we got Michael in the house. What's going on, Michael? I appreciate you. Shout out to 315-518. I appreciate you. We got Isaiah, Tammy, Michael, Trader Kid Solo in the building. What's up? Warren from Trinidad and Tobago. I appreciate you. Tammy, what's up? I appreciate you. We got Tampa in the house. Lotus, good to see you in the chat as well. Cody, what's going on, my guy? Appreciate you. We got Linda from Jersey. How you doing, Linda? Right, Austin in the building. What's up, Austin? Good to see you. We need that freestyle, get that caffeine. Yo, you know what's crazy, Eric? I actually made a track last night, which is kind of crazy. I'm not even a rapper, right? I do it just for fun, and I only did it really because my daughter pretty much my daughter wanted me to. She wanted me to do it, right? So I actually made a banger last night. I'm not gonna play it for y'all, all right? Cause it's my personal arsenal, but it is a banger, right? But that's funny as hell. All right, so let's see. We got my little bro Danny in the building. Jude, my guy, appreciate you. What's up? I Spy, I see you. BTC Mommy, Devin in the chat. What's up, Devin? Appreciate you, my brother. All right, we got Saucin in the house. Shout out to the 518 as well, my bro Solo in the building. All right, appreciate every single one of you guys. Marcus as well, my brother. I appreciate you, bro, for tuning in. Hopefully you are able to get some value from us tonight for sure, right? But the question that I asked him is, what you guys think can happen here for the dollar, right? Do you guys think that we're actually going to go bullish now? Or do you guys think it's just, this pullback is just that, a pullback to continue going bearish, right? What are your guys' thought processes, right? Because I truly think that we are at a very critical point right now, right, where the dollar is going to be make or break. And obviously, depending on what the dollar does, seeing it is being the currency reserve of the world, still the most influential currency in the world, it's going to have some type of effect of everything else, right? That's just how it is, right? So if this thing does actually end up continuing bearish, right, then guess what? Everything else should be bullish, right? Foreign currencies, indices, cryptos, right? That's just usually how it goes, right? It's money transferring from one side to the other when people are, pretty much deciding on whether they want to go the safe route and invest into the dollar, or whether they want to go a little bit of riskier route and invest into, obviously indices, equities, cryptos, all those more so quote unquote riskier plays, right? So very interesting. But let me go ahead and just mark this up really quickly, guys, so we can go ahead and really start to have this dope conversation as well, right? So what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do something very quick. I haven't been doing this often, just because I really don't need to. Just because, again, I do have some experience trading, obviously, but I'm gonna start doing this as well. Literally going from a fresh chart, top to bottom, just so that anybody that's maybe newer to the call can actually identify how simple, marking up a chart really is, right? So what you guys are seeing me do on the screen right now, family, is very simple, right? This is honestly one of the most easiest things to do, is simply identify key levels, right? Because the first thing that I always do is identify the trend of the market. I'm kind of torn as to what I am thinking the trend of the market truly is. Obviously, if we're going to be serious, the trend has been bearish, right? But you can always manipulate price to make it fit whatever you want it to fit, right? So I could be bearish on this time frame. If I go to a different one, I could be completely bullish. But for right now, I'm definitely a little torn as to what I'm going to do. I'm probably, if I'm being honest, right? If I'm being honest, I'm probably leaning towards continuations to the downside. Now, last week I had a different thought process, right? Last week I wanted the market to go completely bullish and absolutely just start flying again. And it didn't really do that, right? We didn't really get too strong of a bullish reaction, at least not as strong as I was expecting until the end of the week itself, right? And even then, we still ended up closing the week bearish. And I think, although I do believe we could see a deeper pullback here, I do think that we are still more than likely going to continue in the bearish tone itself, right? In the bearish trend overall, in my opinion, right? I could be completely wrong here. Obviously, I'm only human, right? But for me, I think that there's a good chance that we do just continue. Now, if we end up, I would say, breaking above this level right here, right? Like if we can get above the 102,700, right? If we pull back all the way up to here and we actually do break this level right here, then at that point, I would probably be, expecting obviously higher targets or higher pricing here for the dollar itself. Right, so I'm definitely going to be watching it to start off the week. I'm going to be interested to see how we play. I am bullish to start the week, but how we finish the week is what I'm really torn on, right? We could finish more lower. We could actually break up and finish higher. So, again, it is going to be one of those weeks, guys, where I am going to be very patient. I'm just going to be trading what the market is showing me, right? I really don't want to try to predict too much. Obviously, everything that we do is technically a prediction, but I'm not going to try to anticipate or predict too far ahead, right? I'm just going to literally trade what the market is showing me, looking at obvious structure levels, looking at trend levels, right? Basic stuff. And then if the market does decide to eventually do something drastic, like a major shift in momentum, then we'll obviously adjust, right? But if not, then we'll just probably continue looking for this, selling off here on the dollar itself, right? So, again, I am, in my opinion, bullish to start the week, but I think we can actually potentially, go ahead and turn around. If we clear 102,700, then I might actually be looking for something different, right? So that's just a little bit of my thought process itself here on what I think the dollar can actually do. Now, let me continue to mark this up, and I also want to hear Kyle's thoughts, right? So, Kyle, bro, what are your honest thoughts and opinions, bro, on the dollar? I know you you already kind of mentioned it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on the dollar itself? What do you think is the likelihood, or where do you think the likelihood of this, obviously, asset that we're trading can actually end up?
To be honest, I want to just continue in the trend that we've been getting. A bearish dollar. I am leaning more towards that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get some bullishness from where we're at because we just formed a daily engulfing, and on the weekly we did sweep some lows. So at the end of the day, this thing could really go either way from where we're at right now. Um, your best possible bet would to be in this current position, right? Since we are just so low in the market, I would be taking longs on the dollar because we need to come up into a higher zone before we start selling off once again. Right now is not a good positioning to. Right now it's like the support and resistance traders and all the breakout and retest traders are going to start selling the dollar right now. But at the end of the day, we're looking for those people to eventually get stopped out. We're looking for those support and resistance traders, those trend line traders, to get stopped out before the market can continue in the downside direction that we've been receiving. So, long term, yes, I'm bearish the dollar, but in the current positioning that we're at right now, it's just not ready. I would expect dollar bullishness to start the week. That's and also it's starting the week, but you guys have to understand that if you were to look at the monthly candle, the monthly candle has about 11 days as well left. So we really have this week and next week on the monthly candle, and then the monthly candle is done. So if I were you guys, I would, if you're trading the earlier part of this week, like tonight, Monday, Tuesday, then I would be taking dollar to the upside. But until then to like maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I can't really give you guys an exact day because I never know the exact day the market is going to move. But I do feel like we're gonna get some initial bullishness, and then we can look to start selling off. So I like what you have marked up right there. I actually would take it a little bit higher, to be honest, and
Hmm.
then start selling it off.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm looking at this here, right? And I'm looking at, okay, where can we potentially go, right? We did obviously sweep these lows here that you were talking about on any time frame. Obviously, it's going to show. We've seen a very strong bullish reaction that got us back above this key level around 101, 101, 140, 101, 150. So we broke back. This is a very strong reaction after a sweep of the lows, which is why I'm bullish to start the week. All right. I mean, even if, yeah, if we end up coming back below this level at 101, like this level that I highlighted, I don't know if we are going to see a deeper pullback, right? Because I don't think that this level is going to break just yet. I think that we're just a good chance that we just continue from right here where we're currently at, in my opinion. But either way, I am definitely bullish to start the week overall. And I'm looking at where we could potentially target if we are going to go bullish. And I'm looking for areas of liquidity, right? The first area of liquidity, the more obvious one, is probably going to be this trend line that everybody's going to try to trade, right? A lot of newer traders, a lot of trend line traders, what are they going to do, right? If they see the dollar come here, they're probably going to try to sell it off, right? Just because it's a trend line, and in their head or in their thoughts, the more touches to that trend line, the stronger it becomes, right? That's their thought process. So this will be the fourth touch, right? So a lot of trend line traders, man, they're gonna live or die by this damn trend line, right? They're gonna trade this thing like it's no tomorrow, based off how many touches. Where for us, we're a little bit more experienced, right? The more touches doesn't mean that it's stronger. The more touches just means that it's more visible. right? And the more visible that a level gets means that there's a great chance it's probably going to be manipulated, right? So I want to use this trend line not as a resource to go ahead and jump into a trade, but as an opportunity to target where we could potentially expect price to go, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of trend line liquidity on the opposite side of the trend line. And if we're being honest, I mean, all these little previous lower highs are all opportunities for, liquidity to be grabbed, right? Because it's probably left behind. So yeah, there's a bunch of different areas here that I think we can target back to the upside. And I'm a big fan of, obviously, this level that I highlighted here around the 102.800. What is that? Yeah, the 102.800. But all of this price action is also very efficient, right? Like all of this, even though these highs probably have a lot of liquidity, right? All this is pretty efficient, right? There isn't really too many inefficiencies that have been left behind that we could potentially really see besides up here. All right, you see that, Kyle?
Yeah.
Right? Besides this little gap here. So again, I do think if we do continue bullish, yeah, we're probably going to even spike above this little zone that I highlighted, tap into possibly this imbalance right here, right? Come into this, what is this called, Kyle? That
hidden supply.
Yeah, come into that area of supply, hidden supply. And then from there, we could potentially start to see this thing go ahead and roll over, right? So it's going to be an interesting play, man. This is something that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on. Obviously, for those of you guys that are newer, we don't actually trade the DXY, but we do use it as a reference to help us out when we're looking at all the other, US dollar pairs as well for the most part, because it can give us a little bit of an insight, right? I'm a big fan, guys, of doing correlations, all right? But when I do correlations, I'm correlating the actual index with the currencies itself, right? So I would look at obviously the dollar index, which is what we're on right now, and I'm trying to figure out what the dollar indexes can do, because then that can give me an insight as to what the dollar is going to do overall. But it's the same process for all the indices, right? Even the Japanese yen index, right? The euro index, the Great Britain pound index, right? Every single currency has their own index that you can create correlations from. All right, for an example, if I say that the dollar is right here, right, the DXY, if I think that we are going to be bullish to start the week, cool, right? That means everything else should be bullish because, for one, the dollar is very dominant. But then if I go ahead and I look at, say, the Japanese yen index, right, which is a Japanese basket, and I also try to come here and mark up this chart and see what this is going to do, right? See, now, if we're able to identify what the indexes can do, then we can have a good insight as to what overall currencies can do as well, right? So me looking here on the Japanese yen basket, this thing looks nothing but bearish in my opinion, right? Like I don't really see nothing here. I mean, let me go to the higher time frame real quick, right? I mean, we're at a very interesting level of structure that could potentially hold, right? Like this level could potentially hold, but even then, like this thing has just been dropping like crazy since 2020, obviously, right? But yeah, there is a chance that we do spike up here, but even then, man, I think overall there's a good chance that we do come at least back down to the 7,400, 7,500, probably just to come back down and test this, previous level of demand overall, right? So if I'm bullish the dollar, and hypothetically you're saying I'm long-term bearish the yen itself, right? Then what does that say about a pair like USD JPY, right? It's probably going to be extremely bullish, aggressively bullish, right? Especially if this drops. Right, if this index does drop and the DXY is going up, then USD JPY should be flying as well, right? So I'm a big fan of just these correlations, man, and just seeing what the correlations are in terms of the index for the actual currency, because you're able to identify a lot of cool things here, right? But that's just a quick little, rundown on that correlation thing itself. But overall, guys, I'm definitely still looking for some higher pricing here on the dollar to then eventually go ahead and turn around to the downside itself. Now, I want to go ahead and mark up the S&P 500 because, like I told you guys, that is going to be my baby. That's going to be my go-to. And then Kyle, bro, if you have anything that you want to mark up, I know you're a big USD CAD trader, and so on and so forth. You could definitely go ahead and do it after I'm done marking up this S&P. So get that chart ready. But overall, though, right, the S&P looks very interesting, guys, right? We've been stuck inside of this little choppiness for a while, though, right? Literally since August, right? We had this massive sell-off right here. And then what the market do, it just started to correct. And it just got extremely, extremely choppy, right, for the last 4, 5, 6 months or so. Now, I do think, personally speaking, I'm a big fan of eventually, right, this thing possibly, rebounding some, right? And I say that because the fundamentals lady has been pointing towards bullishness in the indices overall, right? We've had CPI last week drop, come out worse than what was projected. We had PPI also come out worse than what was projected. And now when I say worse, it just came out much lower than what was projected. And although I am saying worse, please do not get it misconstrued, right? The fact that we are seeing CPI drop and PPI drop is actually a good thing right now because of the current market conditions that we're experiencing. Remember, the main goal of the Fed is to fight inflation, right? The main objective is to get inflation under control still. We have been seeing that drop consistently for the past 6 months. With last week, us seeing CPI drop a full 1%, which is the largest drop that we've seen so far when it comes to reading inflation. So that is only going to continuously bring optimism back into the space overall, right? So for those reasons, me personally, yeah, I do think that even if we do drop from these levels, because there is a chance, I think that overall there's still a bigger chance that we actually go ahead and rebound. And again, it's if you guys listen to what I said last week, it's like the complete different, right? It's like a complete different outlook that I have now. It's because the data is different, right? Last week when I told you guys that I was more so bearish indices and bullish the dollar long term, that was before all the CPI data, right? That was before the PPI data that came out, right? Again, my decisions, guys, more than anything, usually come from my understanding of the news and what I think the dollar itself can do based off the actual news or any asset for the matter that we're trading, right? That's how I like to approach the market. Cool, from a fundamental standpoint, based off the data that we just seen and based off the information that we have approaching in the future, what is the likelihood of the dollar gaining strength or losing strength, right? What is the likelihood of these markets making some type of move, right? So that's how I approach it. I'm always looking from a fundamental standpoint first, and then I approach it from a technical standpoint so I can figure out where I want to actually go ahead and enter the trades from. All right, so yeah, I'm very, very, very big fan of eventually going bullish here, but I do think that there is a good chance that we actually sell off probably to start the week. All right, we're at a very interesting level of structure as it is. I mean, bigger level of structure. We spiked up into this liquidity pocket that we have here to end off the week last week. But once we touched that liquidity pocket, look at this massive sell-off that we had, right? We had a pretty aggressive sell-off. Now, it wasn't too aggressive that it broke structure, right? But it did give us a little decent reaction. Are we going to be able to see some follow-through now, right? That's going to be the biggest deciding factor here. I think there is a good chance. In fact, I actually don't even want it to sell from right here, right? I would prefer for us to actually come back up a little bit higher, actually run these highs one more time, right? Probably test the top of the channel. I would love to see something like this, right? Come up a little bit higher, hopefully throughout all of tonight and London session. We're just slowly making our way so that by New York session comes, we're up in those levels and we can actually go ahead and see this thing potentially roll over, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Obviously, I'm not trading till tomorrow morning, when the actual stock market opens up so that we can take advantage of all the volatility and the volume that enters the market off of that. But that's what I'm going to be personally trying to take advantage of, right? I would love for the market to come up, run these highs one last time, test the top of this range that we've been in, and then from there we can go ahead and see if, we can get opportunity to go bearish, right? So that's going to be interesting. Now, if for whatever reason the market says, nope, Abel, forget you, bro, we're just going to go ahead and go extremely bullish here for the indices, right? And if we just end up running this entire liquidity pocket we have here or this level of structure, then at that point, man, I think that we're probably just more likely going to continue, all right? So we'll have to see, all right? We'll have to wait and see what the market does give us, but this is pretty much going to be my approach overall going into tomorrow for the S&P 500. I'm a big fan of it, and I'm excited to go ahead and see what the market does give us, right? But Kyle, bro, if you're ready, definitely go ahead and share your screen, bro, as I go over these comments real quick to see what they are talking about. Let me actually see if I can make you host real quick. All right, you're good to go, too. All right, so let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat real quick as Kyle gets set up. Let's see, fine premium early in the week, but overall bearish. Yeah, I'm with you, Wally, for sure. Your rapper's favorite trapper, trapper's favorite rapper. That's your boy. Let's get it. Give me 1 second, Kyle. Let me make sure you're on the right screen over here for them. All right, you're good. All right, perfect. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm stuck, man. I need more data. I want to see that 107 area visit. I just have doubts about there being enough demand to overcome supply. Yeah, that's a very, very good thought, man. Shout out to that boy Eric in the building as well. I appreciate you. What's up? What's up? Played on our premium call. I got you, right? Actually, Alana, I will play it on Tuesday, right? Because it's a banger. It's not mixed or mastered or anything, by the way, right? So it's like the raw, unedited version of the song itself, right? But it is dope. I got y'all. Let's see what we got here. I think we'll get a push up to 108, 109, and then go bearish. Very possible. Yep, that 101.9 some area looks good for a reaction to go back down. Very possible as well. Hey, is the JXY and the JPY basket the same? That's a good question, right? So traditionally they're supposed to be the same, but they are definitely a little different, right? They are definitely a little bit different. I would be lying to you if I just made something up to tell you why they're different, right? But they definitely, on the charts perspective, they definitely look a little different. So what I'll do though, Warren, because that is a great question, right? I'll actually do some research as to what the difference is between the JPY basket and the JXY itself, right? And I'll get back to you with that. Let's see. I killed UCAD last week, Kyle. Okay, Oscar, let's get it. Let's see. It's not a coincidence they decided to spike those lows on the Dixie on Friday and see that aggressive reaction. PPI is not even a strong news event to bring that much volume, so they convinced me smart. Yeah, smart money to decide to long the dollar index, fade off the CPI push. Yeah, very possible, 100%. Let's see. Crazy on YouTube giving out this sauce. PS is elite. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what we try to do here, right? Again, it doesn't matter where I'm streaming, right? I don't ever hold back. I don't ever gatekeep. I always try to give as much information away as possible that is relevant to what we're talking about. Right, but besides that, though, Kyle, bro, go ahead and take over, bro. Do your thing and give us a rundown as to what you're actually looking for going into this week.
Bet. So, as we mentioned, we are looking for potential bullishness to start the week. So, if I were to give you guys a setup on that, I would say I'm keeping an eye out on this little 30-minute demand right here. I do feel like if we can possibly trade down to here before New York session, either tomorrow or Tuesday, we can probably take a play off of here to take us up a little bit higher. And personally, I am keeping a lookout on this level right here due to this 4-hour candle. I'm definitely eyeing this because that is a possible area that I do see some reaction probably coming off of. But then again, I probably will favor this buy trade over here because of this liquidity potentially. But obviously, I'm gonna always play structure until it fails. So I'm not gonna overshadow a break until we get a break, right? Until it actually breaks this, then I can say that it's going higher. But for now, structure is still intact. So the proper way to play this thing would to be to look at longs towards the low, as close as possible to the low that you can get. It does kind of correlate with this 4-hour order block right here. That 30-minute candle does correlate exactly with that 30-minute. So I like this level for potentially taking the market long. That's the best way we could position ourselves long as close or at the bottom of this range as we can as possible. And then, once we start coming back up to levels of structure, then we could start looking up for shorts around this 102.65 level. I am keeping an eye out on that. If we break up and go higher, I actually would be looking towards this 4-hour candle a little bit higher than the level that was previously discussed because I do like this hidden supply. Yes, I like that a lot. But I actually would prefer this 4-hour order block because it is the extreme level. And I do have an alert there as well. You guys can go ahead and feel free to set that alert up there as well. It's either we get a reaction where we're at right here to take us down, or we can break above and continue bullish dollar for potentially another 200 300 pips and then start selling off from this 4-hour order block. This supply we can get some reactions off of, don't get me wrong. We could definitely get some reactions off of there, Me personally, I would just rather play it at an extreme level. Um, because at the end of the day, we want to play price action where if we get stopped out, then it's completely a market shift in direction. I don't want to play any levels where it can stop us out and then hit another level and then continue going down. I'd rather play, something like this where if it does stop us out at this level that we have, then most likely it's going to just continue up. The same for this higher level. The second area that I would potentially play. If it stops us out and breaks this candle right here, then we are definitely in the midst of a market shift, and that could potentially happen. But me personally, again, I like if we get a retracement down to this lower level down here at the 101 level, I will be taking longs on the dollar. I will be playing as close to demand as I can as possible, and then I wouldn't look to shift direction until we get up to areas like this and like this. It's the levels I have marked is the 102.6 and the 102.6 and the 104.4, right? The 102.6 and the 104.4 are going to be massive areas of supply that are breaker bounce levels for the dollar. It's either we bounce off of those levels and those levels will warrant us big, massive swing trades, or we break above those levels and we can get big, massive swing trades in the other direction. So, I like to play each supply and demand zone with a grain of salt because, especially with the market conditions of the dollar right now, it's something where you don't want to marry a certain bias, right? Because this is unprecedented market times, right? We've never seen times in the market. We've never seen market conditions like this that are that have been showing us what we've been seeing, right? These are unprecedented market conditions. We have never seen something like BRICS come into the market where we have a lot of countries potentially going ahead and stopping the use of the US dollar for a new currency, right? We've never had things like this happen in the market where, big third world countries are teaming up to go ahead and start their own currency and start their own trade aside from the dollar. So, personally, if you ask me, I would rather just continue with the trend. But at the end of the day, that also could be a news catalyst to send us in the other direction. We know, what do we know about the news, right? If we can take what we know from the news and see how it plays out in the market, we have to truly understand that the news doesn't have our best interests at heart. So, if the dollar was completely crashing and it was such a big problem, then they wouldn't even air that stuff on the news. That's just my opinion. If they really believed that the dollar was never going to go back up and it's going to completely crash, they wouldn't even put that type of stuff on the news because they wouldn't want you to know. These big news media outlets, I feel like they're painting so much fear in the dollar, and they're telling a lot of people that the dollar is going to be non-existent and all these countries are going to start fading away from the dollar and the dollar is going to go to zero. I feel like that could be a catalyst to send the dollar up because they want to get people out of dollars. They want to get people trapped in investments. They want to, they want you to sell all your dollars because why would they want you to have all the dollars if they know that it's going to go up? They would want to paint this fear in your mind. They would want you to start looking bearish dollar at the at least bottom of the dollar. Like, have you ever seen that graphic where they tell you to buy Bitcoin and Bitcoin is at 64,000 when the news when you're looking at the news, Bitcoin is at 64,000. They're giving you videos and they're giving you tutorials on how to buy Bitcoin. They're telling you how to buy Bitcoin. They're encouraging you to buy Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is at 64,000, the top of the market. But now that Bitcoin is at extreme lows and we're at like 20,000, we're at 25,000, now 30,000. Now they're telling you how to sell Bitcoin. They're like, yo, this is how you sell Bitcoin when it's at the extreme lows. When Bitcoin was at 18,000, they were putting videos on the news teaching people how to sell Bitcoin. They were encouraging people to sell crypto. They were discouraging the use of crypto when crypto was at its maximum lows. But when crypto's at its maximum highs, they're telling you how to buy it. So the people behind these news outlets and the big media, they truly don't have our best interests at heart. But at the end of the day, something can shift in the market at any time. That's why I like to always stick with the trend, because things can shift in the market at any time. So, as of right now, if the dollar is completely bearish, I like to continue in that direction. And if we get some major catalyst, some major shift in the market, then at the end of the day, you can't be surprised, because the news was telling you to sell dollars, and they were telling you all this negative things about the dollar when the dollar was at its maximum lows. And this could potentially be the low of the dollar if we break this. Like if we completely break this level, I do feel like we can get some major lows in the dollar, and we could start taking some longs from some of these levels. But at the end of the day, I could be wrong. That's just my outlook here in the dollar. If I were to go and pan over to USD CAD, this is what I'm looking at over here. I do like USD CAD to continue bearish. I have two potential levels that you guys can start looking for sells off of. Number one, again, the same thing that I'm looking at here for the dollar, I'm looking at for USD CAD. So, for example, I do feel like we can get some bullishness off of these levels right here. Maybe we can come and dip down into this range and possibly get some bullishness off of this. So maybe towards the New York session tomorrow, tomorrow or Tuesday, we can probably trade down to here and get some potential bullishness off of that. But I would be paying attention to this 1.3428 level to see if we can get some reaction off of there. If we break above, which I do think we might, we can look a little higher at the 1.3543 level, and then ultimately just keep selling this thing down, right? This thing is extremely bearish. So at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing just continue melting. It's like it's something that you don't really want to. You guys know my rule. I always like to continue in the market trend unless it convinces me otherwise. I don't like to bet on reversals. I don't like to guess the bottoms and the tops of the market, because if you notice your trading history in times and periods where you're extremely profitable, 90% of the time you're probably just continuing in the market direction and the market trend, and it'll continue and it'll give you those profits. But when you're trying to get stabs and catch falling knives and catch bottoms of the market and tops of the market and get screenshot entries you can flex on your Instagram, like, those are times and periods where you start noticing the max losses on your account. So, personally, I like to see USD CAD continue down, but not from where we're at right now. From where we're at right now, I would actually potentially start taking longs. And I do like this hidden supply down here. This hidden supply is actually calling my name, to be honest. Like, if you were to ask for like a certain level for me for like intraday buys, I would say 1.3323. 1.3323. It correlates perfectly with this hidden demand down here. And hidden demand is, something that I really like to play off of. So, on an intraday outlook, I would probably play some longs there, and then probably reevaluate once we get up into these higher levels. Once we get up into the 1.3428 and the 1.354, I can possibly start seeing some selling down from from one of those levels here. But your best bet in the current position of the market is to look for longs. Again, same thing with the dollar. Look for longs as close to or as near to the bottom of the demand as you can as possible. And then once we start, touching into some supply, then we could start looking for shorts. And obviously, I wouldn't just be taking shorts just because we're entering these levels. Certain things that I would be looking at is what time are we touching into these demand zones. right? What time are we touching into these supply zones, right? Like I'm giving you these supply and demand zones. I'm giving you multiple zones, not because I'm trying to like not give you my exact entry. It's because, I'm looking for entries off of those zones and I will possibly take entries off of those. But it also depends on number one, what time are we touching into these demand and supply zones, right? If we touch into this demand zone around New York session, hell yeah, I'm taking that trade, right? If we're touching into this supply zone and it's like Asian session or something, like I'm not taking it. Like I'm just probably gonna look for a higher zone. Also price action, like what are we doing on a lower time frame? There's a lot of things that I take into consideration before playing a supply and demand zone. I'm not playing these supply and demand zones just willy-nilly, and I'm not taking every trade off of them. Um, I'm more so just taking trades based off of, the timing of it, the price action we get leading up towards it, also the opening price, right? Are we above or below opening price of the session, right? There's a lot of things that I take into consideration for taking trades like these. So, definitely keep an eye on USD CAD. This week, these are my markups, and if you guys are getting some value from this session, just go ahead and drop a like on this video, right? Just go ahead and click that thumbs up, click the like button. We're gonna continue being on here for like the next um 30 minutes to an hour or so, keep on marking up charts for you guys. So if you guys are getting some value, just know that this is free. So it is free to also drop a like. So go ahead and click that thumbs up if you got some value so far, and we'll just go ahead and click over to the next pair. All right, we got about 96 on this call so far, so I expect to see 96 likes on this video. It's completely free to do so. So help us out with that. So the next pair I am probably going to look at is GU. GU had a nice reaction on Friday off of this daily order block. And personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing just continue in that direction. Um, honestly, we would have to see what London does, because this is a pair that loves to move for London. Right? This is a pair that loves to make moves during the London session. So personally, I would really need to see what the London session does before I even give you guys some sort of setup on this thing. But if I were to go ahead and give you something off of this thing, I would say I'll be playing this hidden supply right here. Possibly coming up, we could possibly get a retracement up into this 1.34905 level, and we can possibly take a trade off of that to warrant us a little bit more lower. Yo, shout out to all you guys that were in the Sunday call, especially my man George, right? He asked me to go over GU, and I told him to play this supply level right here. And if you guys were on the last Sunday call and you remember when I told you guys to like keep an eye out for London and for us to go ahead and do that, drop a 777 in the chat, because that play on the last Sunday call did play out perfectly, and you guys should have been able to catch some pips if you guys at least put an alert or set a sell limit or something like that off of this trade. So, honestly, if you were to ask me, I'm looking for the same exact thing. That's what GU likes to do on Sundays, and it likes to give a reaction towards London session. So I wouldn't be surprised if like we consolidate a little bit and then, you know, tap into this and then spike up, and then, tap into this supply and just continue selling down. That would be my play for GU for any of my London traders on here. Um, for all you guys that maybe, work during New York session and you like playing during London session, this would be a great London session play. Like maybe we could just consolidate a little bit more, trade off of this and go up and give an initial spike up. Then I would be shorting that initial spike up at the 1.34905 level. I probably would be playing something like this. Just playing that hidden supply. And you can give yourself some breathing room on that trade and get a possible 1 to 4 on this setup right here. So that is something that I would definitely play if it does give me what I need to see around New York session. then hell yeah, I'll be taking that around New York session. But I wouldn't be surprised if we make some moves for London session because that's just what GU likes to do. It just likes to do that type of stuff. Early Sunday/Monday London session because it is a pound pair. So we do just have to keep that in mind. Um, yeah, my boy said same idea for G. Yeah, I got the same exact thing. Like I need to see this imbalance fill. There's no imbalances over here. There's nothing. Like this is all efficient. So and this demand failed. So just personally speaking, this 1.23 level needs to get achieved. And what we do from there is kind of up to the market and we'll reevaluate once we get there. But at the end of the day, this thing needs to um, trade into this. Once we start trading into this, then we can reevaluate and possibly go the other direction. But obviously, we'll take things day by day. The data changes, market conditions change day by day, so we can't really, I can't really say I'm gonna long right now. Maybe on like the premium session. For you guys that don't know, we go live 3 times a week trading New York session for our premium members. So we will go ahead and let you guys know on the premium session. But same idea more so for EU, like my man Wally said. At the end of the day, if we were to look at the daily, man, the daily, we traded into this more so, did we? Hmm. I'm gonna dissect this a little bit more. So we didn't actually trade into that. Very, 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 very weird. But this right here would be, hidden supply because this wick did take out, a big majority of trading on this wick right over here. So, personally speaking, it can come back up. So that's why I'm kind of like sidelined on this thing for now. If you caught shorts up here, that was beautiful. Me personally, I was looking at the shorts on Friday, but I didn't execute off of anything. I decided to sit out the markets on Friday. So I'm gonna just pretty much run down on EU. If I were to take a position again, I probably would be playing that hidden supply. We see that same hidden supply is showing its hand on GU and EU, and I would be playing the same thing. I actually would be a little bit more confident in playing EU because I am like a more of a New York session trader, and I feel like GU would set up more so towards London. I feel like that's just what it likes to do. But at the end of the day, I would like to see us play off of this hidden supply. If we look at it on the 15-minute, it looks kind of crispy. Um, it's also hidden supply in a 5-minute, so like maybe you can move it up a bit. If you were to go down to like the 1 minute or something, it's still hidden supply. So there's really not much more you can dissect on the lower time frame. Um, Probably would just keep this 1 hour zone here and play something like this with like a 20 pip stop. If you were to take this idea right here, I wouldn't risk more than 20 pips on this thing because I feel like if it does breach this level, then I wouldn't really be interested in the trade anymore. So maybe we can get some consolidation and spike us up into that. But what's crazy? We could actually really more so do something like this. Like that's another potential possibility here for EU. Whenever EU likes to make these big long shorts in the market, like a lot of the times it doesn't come back all the way up into here. It just creates new structure and does something like that. This is like the same position I feel like EU is in right now, right? If you look at what EU did over here, like it created like a little mini distribution, then it traded down on a Thursday, Friday, and then it didn't actually come back all the way up into here. It actually like created new structure and did that. So honestly, I feel like we're getting like the same thing. Like I would love for it to come all the way up into here, because that would be the best possible scenario. But personally speaking, I do feel like we can actually, if we hold the low in EU, just made the sell appealing. I would not want EU to tap into the imbalance. That's correct. I mean, if it would, that would be a little bit more of a scarier trade. But you know what's crazy? Like I said, I like to have two levels because you can never marry a certain bias. So you know what's crazy? I do like the idea that like we create a new low and then like we actually trade back into this and possibly take something like this. It would still probably be around like it would actually be like a 12 pip stop. I actually like that a lot. Maybe like a 12 pip stop to have us run down into the lows. It all depends on what we see when we wake up for New York session. Like, London can invalidate all of our analysis here, right? Like, don't get into the mindset where you mark up something on Sunday and like you wait for it all week and like you marry it. And like, I got into like that mindset when I first started trading where I used to mark up charts every Sunday and I had specific levels and specific candles marked up. And I was waiting for those candles all week, and I completely like didn't pay attention to any other things that was happening in the market except for that one candle that I had marked all week. And then that one candle didn't end up playing, and it ended up missing that candle, or it ended up stopping me out, and pretty much just ruined my entire week because I was completely set on what I had marked up on Sunday. So, you don't want to get into that mindset, guys. You want to always be like adaptable. You want to always be in an area and in a point where you can always adjust. You can always like, look at the market conditions and adjust to what's going on. So, obviously I would be favoring this higher level, but again, like I would not be surprised if we just make new lows, come up into this same supply that we're pretty much looking at right over here. If you want an exact level on that, it will be 109, 1.0986, or yeah, 1.10986, right? More so 109, 1.09, 1.0986. That would be a level, and also the 1.0539, right? Those would be my preferred sell regions here for the Euro USD and the GBP USD and whatnot. You know, that could also happen here on GBP USD. Like we can completely just like break lows for London and then get some trading off of that. So more so pretty much the same idea I'm telling you guys. I'm looking for bullishness to start the week on the dollar, right? I wouldn't be looking for bearishness just quite yet. Right? Even though I'm long-term bearishness, even though I'm long-term a dollar bear, I do, I don't like shorting the dollar from where it's at right now. I'd actually be longing the dollar. So that means that we'd be looking for shorts. If the dollar is going to go up and it's going to go bullish, then pairs like EU will be going bearish. Pairs like GU will be going bearish because they have an inverse correlation with the dollar. The dollar is going up, then pairs like GU and EU will go down, right? So, since I'm looking for this initial dollar bullishness, I'm looking for initial EU and GU sell-offs, right? So it only makes sense that we, actually go ahead and continue with our bias that we had set out on the dollar. And I would look for this region up here, and possibly if we break lows and come back up into this area during New York session, hell yeah, I'll take something like that. And the same idea here for EU. Maybe we can break some lows and possibly retest and get something like that to warrant us below this low. That would be very favorable. And for USD CAD, if we're looking at bearishness on the dollar, then USD CAD would continue bearish. This thing has a direct correlation with the dollar. So if we think dollar is gonna actually go bullish to start the week, it would only make sense that we look bullish on USD CAD to start the week, because USD CAD is a US dollar leading pair. It has US dollar at the beginning of the pair. right? If USD is at the beginning of a pair, whatever the dollar does is going to more so correlate with that. So since we're looking for more so dollar bullishness to start the week, I'm starting the week bullish on USD CAD. When we start to look for the dollar to dig into those higher supply ranges, then we can start selling USD CAD again because we're going to look for dollar shorts. So, just a little rundown for my pairs. Um, these are the only three pairs that I trade: USD CAD, GU, and EU. For all the beginners, or maybe if you've been trading for like this doesn't apply to just beginners, right? This applies to all of you guys. Like if you guys have been beginners or have been trading for a long time, like one of the biggest breakthroughs that got me into like major profitability and like help me pass funded accounts and get payouts on funded accounts. Like drop a 2 in the chat if you want to get paid out on a funded account. Like not just like do a funded account and pass the phase 1 and post a certificate. Like I'm talking about like who on here wants to like pass phase 1 on their funded account, pass phase 2 on their funded account, and start getting paid out on these funded accounts? Because that's something that I myself have been able to do. That's something Mr. Abel has been able to do. That's something Skaggs has been able to do. Like we've been able to get withdrawals from the market. Like we're not just on here like showing you guys that we can be profitable for a week. We're not showing you guys that we could be profitable for 2 weeks. Like we're on here showing you guys that you guys can get consistent payouts from these things. So, at the end of the day, one of the biggest breakthroughs that helped me go ahead and start being in tune with the market is, understand that like Abel said at the beginning of this call, like he's focusing on S&P. Like, do you guys notice how like we all have our pairs? Because the thing is, you have to pick 2 to 3 pairs that you want, 1 to 3 pairs, honestly. Like I'm gonna drop a video on the gram here, like on the Profit Society page, like a little bit towards this week. Like on the Profit Society page, y'all see some reels coming from me. Where I'm gonna be talking about the power of only trading 1 to 2 pairs, right? At the end of the day, we're conditioned that we want to look at like 10, 20 different pairs. You want to trade the entire Forex market. And if your watch list on TradingView has every single Forex pair, then like you're messing up big time. Like you guys look at my watch list right here. Like I really only have like a couple things, and 2 of them are the US dollar. So this right here, these first 2 pairs are just US dollar feeds where I just look at the US dollar. So don't even consider these 2 as pairs. These are just 2 feeds of the dollar, right? I technically only have 6 things, right? USD CAD, GBP USD, Euro USD, and I only trade these actual first 3, right? I only monitor gold and crypto because I have long-term investments on Ethereum and I have long-term investments on gold. So these 2 don't even count as well because I'm not even trading these things. I'm not even taking positions off of gold and Ethereum. GJ, I really just monitor just to get a consensus of the Great Britain pound strength, because the strength of the Great Britain pound heavily influences my GU trades. So that's the only reason I do have it on there. But you can be successful only trading 1 pair. Like that's the thing you guys have to understand. Like, massive successful traders that are making 7 figures, they don't trade more than 1 to 2 pairs. Like I know people that are multi-millionaires in trading and they trade 1 pair, like just gold or just US 30 or just like GBP USD, right? Like there are people out there that do that completely only trade 1 pair. And you know why? It's because when you trade a pair and you only trade that 1 pair, or you only trade those 2 pairs, and you wake up every single morning and you look at that pair, after about like a month or 2 of just looking at the same pair every single day for a month or 2, don't you think that after a month or 2 that you're gonna see its tendencies? You're gonna wake up and you're gonna see, yo, this is how it moves on Monday. This is how, like, let's say your pair, like, it doesn't have to be the pairs that we're trading, by the way, as well. Like, let's say you decide to trade USD CHF, right? Like at the end of the day, that could be your pair. Like, I'm not knocking it. Like, let's say you decide to only trade USD CHF and you wake up every single morning, Monday, USD CHF, you're only trading that. Tuesday, you're only trading USD CHF. Wednesday, you're only trading USHF. You're only trading USHF on Thursday, Friday, like not Saturday because the market's closed, but let's say you do that every single day for like a month or two straight. What you're gonna notice is you're gonna start noticing how USHF moves on Mondays. You're gonna start noticing how it moves on Tuesdays. You're gonna start noticing how it moves on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. You're gonna start noticing the supplies that it likes to play off of. You're gonna start noticing the demands it likes to play off of. You're gonna start realizing what supplies not to play. You're gonna start realizing what demands not to play. Like you're gonna develop a relationship with that pair because you're gonna know exactly how it moves. Because a certain pair will tend to move the same over and over and over and over and over again. The cycles are never the same. It's not gonna be bullishness like the same amount, the same time of the year, the same like day of the year. Like it's not gonna be the same timing, but it's gonna give you the same patterns. It's gonna give you the same liquidity grabs. It's gonna give you the same mitigations, right? It's gonna give you the same things over and over again. Like the market is an algorithm, and this algorithm is literally designed to do the same things, stop majority of people out and get the big banks into the market. So you're gonna start like developing a relationship with these pairs. And I have a saying: trade a few, but monitor many, right? So, me personally, I have 6 things on my watch list, but I only trade 3 of them, right? So at the end of the day, like, pick 1 to 3 pairs to only specifically trade those. One thing that helped me is if you look on my MetaTrader 4, I have everything else deleted except for EU, GU, and UCAD. Like, look at this, guys. I'm not even kidding. Like, if you look at my MetaTrader, I literally only have EU, GU, and UCAD. Those are the only 3 things that I have on my MetaTrader. So even if I wanted to take a trade on another pair, like it would be such a hassle. I would have to add it to the screen. I would have to like, change the candlesticks. Like I would have to do so much to take a trade on that pair that I just wouldn't even take it. Like I would rather just disable the ability for me to even take trades on other pairs. So, since it's Sunday, I want you guys to test it out for yourself, especially if you've been struggling with profitability, if you feel like you've been struggling with analyzing the markets, if you feel like you've been out of the loop with the markets, if you feel like your analyzation has been messing up, or you feel like your psychology has been messing up, like whatever you feel like has been messing up, I could probably like guarantee you is because like you're trading too many things and you're probably over trading at that. You're trading too many things and you're trading too many times. So what I'll say is pick 1 to 3 pairs. And even 3 is overdoing it. Like I feel like the only reason I do 3 is because I get impatient sometimes and I want setups like we all do, right? But I like to limit it to 3. I don't like to go over 3. So, if you know that you have the patience and you work a job and like, because me personally, trading is my full time. Like I don't do anything else but trade. And over here, I'm 20 years old, so it's not like I have like a family or anything else, but like more so like my mom and dad and my brother. Like I don't have like any other responsibilities than trading. I literally only trade. So me personally, 3 is more ideal. But for a lot of you guys maybe like work a job, maybe you work a full time job, maybe you have like a family, maybe you have kids, maybe you have like another side hustle you do, maybe you have like multiple businesses. Maybe trading isn't your only business, and you have like multiple things that you're running. Then only stick to 1 or 2. Like I wouldn't trade more than 1 or 2 things. If I were you guys, because what it's gonna do is if you trade a lot more things, then you're gonna start getting confused and you're actually gonna start missing setups. And because let's say you're trading 20 things, it's impossible as a human, like you're a human, you're not a robot. It's impossible as a human to like not miss a setup. And you will miss things because you have too many things on your watch list. And you will miss setups. You'll miss a lot of setups. But and what that will do is once you miss setups, you'll start forcing setups on other things. And then it'll psychological mess you up because you'll take losses on things that you shouldn't have took, and you'll take losses on things that like you usually wouldn't have took, but like the pairs that you have marked up perfectly and what you usually would have took, you missed out on it because you were looking at something else. So, you know, that's why I like to slim my watch list down, because I never miss things, right? I don't miss things because there's nothing for me to miss. There's nothing for me to like be distracted with. If you're distracted with like millions of other pairs, you'll miss things. Plus, you won't really truly develop a relationship with a pair. Once you start developing a relationship with that pair, then like you'll know what to trade off of and when to trade off of and what not to trade off of. So, really understand that it really does help you out when you start to develop relationships with these pairs. But I see Abel's over here looking at this GJ. What you got over there, bro?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely talking your talk. That's why I ain't wanna interrupt you at all, because you was over there
Oh no, I'm done. I'm done.
obviously speaking that game. But I just want to go ahead and give a little rundown as to what I think GJ is gonna do as well before we hop off, because I know that that's definitely a fan favorite as well, for sure. But fam, if you guys are getting some value though from Kyle, he was really providing a lot of insight. Definitely go ahead and smash the like button if you guys have not done so just yet. We appreciate y'all for doing that. Right, but let's go ahead and take a look at GJ really quickly, and I'm actually very interested in what GJ is gonna do this week. I've been a GJ bull for a while now. I truly believe that we have still a long ways to go to the upside, in my opinion. And everything is definitely going to be not just fundamentally based, but even technically based as well, right? What has, GJ been doing overall over the past few weeks? I mean, we really haven't been doing much, but, going up. All right. Obviously, we're coming from a very strong drop. All right. But ever since then, now we just pretty much been, making our way back up. And now we're retesting that supply zone that ended up causing the actual initial drop as it is. Right. So I am a bullish. I am a bull here for GJ long term. Keyword here is long term. What I would like to see, though, this week is I would like to see if we can actually go down. Or I would love to see us go ahead and clear this 162 900, right? And then from there, go ahead and make a move higher, right? So long term, I'm bullish, but to start this week, man, I could definitely see us potentially making some moves lower for sure, right? So what I'm gonna be doing for tonight, preparing myself for obviously, what the market can do itself overnight, was if we're able to go ahead and spike up, I would be extremely excited about that. All right, I think we just have a lot of liquidity that's going to be above, these highs in general, right? Like this whole range right here, this whole range. All right, there's liquidity on both sides, right? There's liquidity above every high, there's liquidity below every low, right? But I just see so much liquidity being built up here, right? So I would love for the market to go ahead and spike up higher, and then from there we go ahead and we see, a nice move lower here for GJ, right? So I think this looks very interesting. All right, I think it looks very, very interesting. I think it's a setup that if I get what I'm looking for, like if price does make it up to this 166 500, guys, I will most likely be pushing that button and taking a nice little sell opportunity to go right back onto the downside. Best thing apart it is that this thing, I mean, if we do see price start to drop, we got a little ways that we can go, right? We got a little ways that we can go that I think price might actually want to make it towards. Right, so if I am able to get an entry up here, guys, at 166 500, I would be very comfortable with riding this thing all the way down. I would probably say right to around, these levels around the 163, right? I'm just going to make it 163 so it's a little bit easier. But yeah, this is not a bad looking play, right? We're talking about 11 to 1, 11.5 to 1 risk to reward, which is absolutely insane, right? If you're risking 1%, just 1%, you'll be targeting damn near 12%. That's game changer, right? If you're risking 2%, obviously you'll be targeting 22, 23%, right? So this one setup, if it was to play out, and if you did risk 1% on it, can absolutely pass any prop firm that is out there, right? As long as obviously you're only risking 1% and you actually ride the entire trade to its final take profit, right? So I know it's something that, again, I'm going to be focused on for this week. I really want to take advantage of GJ as well, but I'm also interested to see this, right? Like if I'm awake during this period of time, then I'm actually interested to see how we react even from around this 165 700 level, right? Because once we do come back down to retest this level of structure here, guys, I mean, there's a couple reasons why this could hold, right? For one, we had a lot of buying pressure out of this level right here, right? This is a major area of demand right here, right? We have liquidity being built up right now in this entire range. That's why I would love for this market to go ahead and run this support, grab that liquidity, test up into the demand zone, and then from there, you know, we find obviously that demand and we start to see price push higher, right? So if I'm awake, I will be watching this, right? If I do get a nice little opportunity to go ahead and go long, I will also take advantage of that for sure. Why? Because, I mean, for one, the setup looks good. And for two, the risk to reward is just going to be great. Man, I'm a big fan of risk to reward, right? Risk to reward is everything for me, right? When I have setups, guys, that are, for one, make sense, follows all my rules, but are giving us a healthy risk to reward, I don't second guess it, right? Like, I just take the trade and then we deal with whatever comes from it, right? And I think that there's a good chance that we could find some demand here for GJ, right? Down at this 165, 700 level. So I would say keep your eyes, if you guys are going to be awake during London session. I'm never awake during London session anymore, right? I actually like to enjoy my sleep, right? So I don't typically wake up. But if I am awake for some reason, yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna be looking for an opportunity to go ahead and go long from right here. All right. So just a quick little outlook here guys on GJ, something that I think can absolutely play out. And we'll just see ultimately what the market does eventually give us overall. Right. But yeah, you know, that looks very, very interesting for sure. I think that there's a couple opportunities that we could take advantage of this week. I know my two main focus is going to be GJ and the S&P 500. Obviously, gold also looks very, very interesting as well. Like if we look at gold, guys, from the daily, I mean, this thing looks super interesting, right? I mean, we're coming back up to major levels of structure up here, right? Major areas of supply. And not just that, but the reaction, right? I'm very big on reactions off of key levels, right? Look at this. We tapped up into the supply level and look at that reaction, right? We got a very strong bearish engulfing. Now, obviously, the engulfing itself isn't usually just enough for it to take the trade, but it definitely is a very great start. So I'm very interested to see if there is a chance that we do go ahead and potentially turn around from these levels here on gold, right? I mean, I think we have a ton of reason for this thing to actually go ahead and turn around, right? Starting off with just all this liquidity that this market has been building up, right? We've been trapped inside of this range now for the past, I mean, few weeks. We've been trapped inside of this range for damn near an entire month now, right? And all this range is doing, in my opinion, is just accumulating more orders, right? Building up more liquidity. And all that liquidity will eventually get taken, right? So I think that there's a good chance that, again, we do see this thing eventually roll over to the downside. Now, where can we look for the trade from? Well, I'll be a fan of it if we can come back up to retest up here, right? Very simple play. You know, if we are able to come back up to the 20, I would say the 2027 level, right? Around that 2027, 2028, I would be looking for some opportunities to go ahead and go short on gold as well, right? So this is another attractive one, guys, that I'm also very interested in. So again, my three pairs are all setting up, man. That's why I'm so excited for this week, because I mean, this is the week where if our ideas do play out, we can literally hold them the entire week and absolutely catch a stupid bag, right? So I'm super excited for all three of my favorite pairs with GJ, gold, and the S&P. They're all setting up nicely, and I'm excited to go ahead and take advantage of them, right? Now, obviously, Kyle also looked at a bunch of his pairs as well, a lot of the dollar pairs, the euro, the GUs, right, the USD CADs, and he gave you guys all some really good opportunities for those as well, right? So now that you guys all have a bunch of different setups that you guys can take advantage of, family, definitely go ahead and do just that. Take advantage of them. Right now, before we actually go ahead and wrap this up as well, if you guys are not in the Discord family, we do have a public, we have a Discord itself that has both a public and a premium section. Obviously, if you want to be more side of the premium section, you do have to become a member of the Profit Society, our community. But other than that, you don't need to be a member to actually join the Discord. You can join the Discord right now, and we'll still be able to provide you guys with a lot of value as well. Right, so super interesting. All right, super interesting week for sure. Let's see, really look at you setting up this week. I called out the UTAD on gold, similar to the S&P. Yeah, I mean, it looks good, man. It does. It does. I think I seen your markup, Wally, which was I'm not sure. I can't remember if it was on gold, but you had this thing marked up with the actual phases and everything, right? And that did look really good, right? That did look like a really good opportunity that we can eventually take advantage of, right? So we'll see, right? We'll see what the market does give us overall. But besides that, though, family, man, I think we're pretty much wrapped up for tonight. I appreciate every single one of you guys for jumping on. Hopefully, you guys were able to get some value. For those of you guys that are a part of the premium family, it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal week. Any opportunities that we do take, obviously, we will give you guys direct access to that. Especially if you're in the premium. Obviously, keep up to par with our signal section inside of the premium section of the Discord. And besides that as well, we actually have, this is going to be the first week, right? This is going to be the first week that we actually have a dedicated trading account for our company as well. All right, so every single trade idea that we do call out this week and any week moving forward, right, every single trade, it will all be taken on a dedicated trading account that you guys will all have access to as well. All right, you guys will be able to obviously view the account. You guys can see the MyFX book. Right, you guys will be able to see everything, right? And the reason why we're doing this is, for one, to have a way that we could track all the trades that we're calling out, to show you guys that we're actually taking the trades that we're actually calling out, and just for overall more so just general transparency as a whole, right? I'm very big on transparency because in this space there's a lack of transparency everywhere, right? And that's why this space, the trading space as a whole, has such a bad negative light towards it, is because the lack of transparency from traders, right? So we want to change that. We obviously want to make sure that we're doing things correctly. So again, this week is the start of the actual week, guys, where we now have an official trading account for our business, for our company. And every trade that we do call out live, right, or even if we're not live, they will all be taken inside of that account. It will all be documented. You guys will all have access to it. You guys will have access to the MyFX book. And I think it's going to be something that's super powerful for you guys as well to be able to see and track. Right, but besides that, though, family, appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you guys for jumping on with us tonight. Hopefully, you guys were able to get some value. For those of you guys that are going to be in the Discord, we will be in the Discord ready to go ahead and talk it up with y'all. So, family, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your guys' trading week. It is your boy, Abe, on behalf of Profit Society, and I'll talk to you guys all later. Let's get it.